What's up guys, this is Caster Campo, and for today's video we will have our first experiment about NOT gate circuit on a breadboard. So let's go! And the objectives for experiment number 1 is to examine the characteristics and operation of a TTL NOT gate. To simplify the output expression of NOT gates connected in series. Equipment and materials. 5 volts DC power supply, 1 piece 74LS04 hex inverter gate, 1 piece of 5mm red LED, 1 piece of 220 ohms resistor, 1 piece of SPDT switch, 1 piece of breadboard and jumper wire. And introductory information. The NOT gate has a single input and its logic symbol is shown in figure 1. The output is the complement of the input. If A is the input of NOT gate, its output will be NOT or A or NOT A. The small circle or bubble at the output of the NOT gate is the standard symbol representing inversion or complementation rather. NOT gate is commonly called inverter. And this is the pin configuration of hex inverter. And let's proceed to the procedure. Construct on the breadboard the NOT gate circuit shown in the figure A. So as you can see, this is the NOT gate circuit on a breadboard. This is the 74LS04 hex inverter gate. And this is the 220 ohms resistor. And this is the 5mm red LED. And this is the alligator connected to the toggle switch, and this is our alternative power supply recommended by our professor Mary Jane Concepcion. So now the hex inverter has 14 pins. This starts from 1 to 7 and 8 to 14. So this is the positive line and this is the negative line. So as you can see, in the pin number 7, it connects to the positive because the hex inverter, this is what you call the ground, the pin number 7. So, and in the negative side, the pin number 14 is the VCC. So the resistor is pinned, connect to the number 2 and connect it to the LED, and this is the positive side of the LED. So I put solid wire or jumping wires connect to the positive. So in the toggle switch, this is the side for the positive and this is the side for the negative, this one. And for the middle, I put it into the number 1 pin to control the input and output. So this is the negative and positive for the power supply. So now let's try to input the truth table of NOT gate. As you can see, the toggle switch is off, means 0, and when the light turn on, it means the output is 1. When it's off, means 0. And let's try to plug our alternative power supply. So when I input 0, the output is 1 because it inverts, and when I input 1, the lights is off, means 0. Again, when I input 0, the output is 1, and when I input 1, the output is 0. In figure B, set the NOT circuit input as shown in the truth table B. Observe and record in the truth table the output for each input. So now in figure B, we have two input. So the input 1 is on the pin 2 and its output is on the pin 3. The second input is on the pin 4 and the output is on the pin 5. So now again we will input number 0. So we will plug it. So we enter numbers, we input number 0 and its output is number 1. So the output becomes the input of the second input. So the input is 1, the output is 0. But when we input 1, the output is 0. So the output becomes the input of the second input. So the input is 0, the output is 1, so it lights. And for the figure C, construct on the breadboard the NOT gate circuit shown in figure C. So in figure C, we have 3 input. So our first input is pinned to the pin 2 and its output is on the pin 3. The second input is on the pin 4 and its output is on the pin 5. And the third input is on the pin 6 and its output is connected to the bulb here. So now again we will input number 0. So we will plug it again. So when you input number 0, the output is 1. Because we input 0, the output is 1. And the output of 1 becomes the input of the second input. So when we input 1, the output is 0. So the output of 0 is the input of the third input. So when we input number 0, the output is 1. And when we input number 1, the output is 0. So the 0 becomes the input of the second input. So when we input 0, the output is 1. So the output of 1 will become the input of the third input. So when we input 1, the output is 0. And that's all for today. I hope you learned something from this video. Keep safe everyone.